thank you again for your patience. I'm really sorry that this is taking so long again with the package getting water damage. But what I've done today is put together a small order, a portion of the order that you have, and I wanted to show you how it's going to work. I've tested it all here. It works fantastic, but just a quick run because I know it's a new product. You can show this to your guys while they're out in the field, save them some time. So the unit that I have here is the 2 relay output unit, relay 1 here, relay 2 here, and then power. So I'm only using, right now I only have one of the relays wired up into our gate operator and power. You can see I have my network light solid, which is what you want, and 2 of the lights out of 3, which is good signal. I have this antenna, which would generally stand up like this, but it's magnetized, so it's on that pole. This will come with your purchase. So this is the unit that's going to communicate with the wireless vehicle detectors that you purchased, as well as the handheld remotes, and I'll show you how to configure and get those set up right now. But this is going to be the PAL2 relay unit, and the SIM card is in it. So we've got the wireless vehicle detector. A couple important things to know is there's a sticker on the outside of every vehicle detector. That is your serial number, and I'll show you where you're going to put that in the software so you can configure it and set it up. And then at the bottom, these are all totally weatherproof, completely waterproof. It will come with 4 screws. I've taken those off. The first thing you need to do to get started is open this up, and you'll see there's a jumper right here on the board. That jumper is only over one of the pins. You're going to take that jumper off and put it over both pins. You'll hear a beeping. That's just turning on the unit. Power is not on until that unit's on. This battery should last you between 4 and 7 years. So then what you're going to do is you're going to put this back on, you're going to put your 4 screws on, and then you're going to mount it with the holes here to your surface. Once it's mounted, that's when you're going to put a magnet on it so it can align itself. I don't know what the proper terms are, but it will align itself with basically the earth. So if you mount it somewhere, put the magnet on it and align it, and you move it, you're going to have to realign it, which I'll show you how to do. So I've got this. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mount it just right over here. Melissa, can you? Sorry, I'm bumping back and forth for here. I'm just going to mount it right here. And then all you do to configure it, set it up so it's ready to go, is we're supplying you with a magnet, this little magnet. All you do is set the magnet down on the unit, and it is magnetized, so it'll grab your magnet. There's a little indent for it, but it'll pull itself over. And then once you set it here, it's going to pick up the magnet, and it's going to start to beep at you. It's going to go beep, 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 beep. It is configuring itself right now. I can hear it beeping. You probably can't. It's beeping slowly. Beep, 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 beep. And the magnet moves. So you usually want to try to hold the magnet right here over this little breakout in the plastic. So it's beeping again at me. 4, 5, 6. Long beep, and now it's just beep, 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 going really fast beep. You want to let it fast beep for about 10 seconds. Once it fast beeps for about 10 seconds, remove the magnet. It will give you 2 quick beeps and 1 really long beep. And now the unit is configured, and it has to stay in that point. If you move it now, you'll have to do the same thing we just did. Put the magnet on there for about 20 seconds, and then you're ready to go. Now that unit is active. In order to make it now trigger with our PAL receiver, we're going to program it in the software. A couple things to note about this device. This is activated by metal, and it does not hold open. It is not holding the relay. It is momentarily triggering the relay and holding the relay for the amount of time you have set in the software. So that's an important thing to note. But this unit's all ready. So let's go ahead, jump over. Actually, let me show you the handheld remote real quick. This is the handheld remote. I'll send you one of these with your order today. And the important thing about these are all 4 buttons, is the serial number printed at the bottom there. That serial number is what you're going to program into the software. It might be a little hard to see. So let's go ahead. We'll jump to the software, and I'll give you just a quick rundown of how we're going to set this up. Okay. So we're going to go to portal.pal-es.com, which you can see in the URL. I've already logged in with my username and password. You'll have one as well. And I have already added the device using the serial number and the code that is located on the back of the PAL receiver. and I am in the general information now. I've given an address. You can see I've just named this one Allison Fence Test for you, and this unit's ready to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm first going to go into the settings, and this, in the settings, this is where I can set my output time for my relay. So if I click Edit, you have the two relays. You can adjust the time that you want them to hold, all the way up to 255 seconds. So I'm just going to leave it at the 2 seconds, but you can do that for both relays. So that's where you can set your relay time. I'm going to click Save. Timer events, this is your 7-day timer. So I'm going to click Edit, and I'm going to say I want the gate to open every day at 5 a.m. and close at 5 p.m. Sorry, can't type. I'm really struggling here. Use the arrows, it's easier. Let it close at 5 p.m. Okay, 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. that gate's going to open, and I only want it to automatically open Monday through Friday, not on the weekend, and I want it relay 1. Or if I wanted relay 2, I could do that. And then you just click Save, or if you want to add a new time, you can add another time interval up to 8 different time intervals, all for one gate. So that is really nice. I'm just going to go ahead and delete those, but that's your 7-day timer under the timer events. Click Cancel. My time groups, this is where I can set who is allowed to enter the gate and at what time. So I would call this gate tenants. Excuse me, I'd call this scheduled tenants. If you leave this blank, it's going to work all the time, unlimited dates, or you can restrict the dates so you can have it end at a certain time. And my tenants are only allowed in this gate between 3 a.m. and what's 13? 1:30, we'll just say. And they're allowed in every day of the week between those times. So that means their remote or their RFID sticker or whatever the device is you're using, or their phone application, their phone app, will only trigger between the time of 3 a.m. to 1:30 Saturday through Sunday. A really cool feature. And again, I can add another time interval if I want to do different time intervals. Or I can click Finish, which I'm not going to do, and that group would have shown up here, and I could add another group. So you can have as many groups as you want. So you could have an employee who's allowed in all the time and can trigger the gate from anywhere with their app at any time, the employer, and the employees could only trigger the gate with their phone app or the transmitters or the RFID tag for certain hours. You can set all of that under time groups, and you apply that in their user, and I'll show you where to do that. Now the remote control, I can tell you you can decide by clicking Edit. I want every button, no matter what button they press, to trigger relay 1. You can change that to relay 2 or disable a button if you want. And I want my wireless vehicle detector also triggered through relay 1. You can do that through relay 2 as well. So you have full customization of that. And I'm going to press Cancel. Now what I'm going to do is go ahead and add myself as a user. So I'm going to put my phone number in. Put my information. My remote control serial number is the SN number on the back of the remote, like we just showed. 180981. And I could restrict myself to the time group that I would have previously set up. I didn't set any up, but I can restrict myself, which means the transmitter will only work during certain times, or the RFID tag will only work during certain times, or the phone app will only work during certain times, whatever time group you've assigned. If I click on Admin, this user now, Quinn Coford, when they open the app, will have an extra feature where they can add users, delete users, look at the log, all of that stuff. If I leave this blank, when Quinn Coford opens the app, all he can do is trigger the gate through his app between the times that you've told him to. So you can make him an administrator or not. Again, another really nice feature. So I'm going to go ahead and press Finish, and now Quinn has been added. You can see I show up there, and I am not an administrator. Now to add the vehicle detector, I'm going to go ahead and click Add. Leave the phone number blank. Name this whatever you want. I'm just going to name it Vehicle Detector. And the serial number is that serial number on the sticker on the front of the vehicle detector that I showed you a little bit earlier. And in this case, it's VD. It will always start with VD, 900-101-058. That's the serial number. And then you can, if you set a time group, this is cool as well. If you assign a time group, that means that the vehicle detector will only work during the times of the time group. Most people aren't going to do that because people want 24/7 free exit, but you can restrict it if you want to only allow sometimes. What outputs do you want to trigger? And because this is a vehicle detector, there is no phone number associated with this device. Okay? And then click Finish. And now that vehicle detector and Quinn Coford are in the system, and that's how you're going to go through and add every single user. Now, just for quick reference, if I go to Log, I'm able to see everything that's happened on this device. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and trigger the gate with my transmitter. And my gate opened, and you'll see here in the log that Quinn Coford triggered the gate and was authorized at 12:27, the time it is here right now, with that serial number, and you can even see the battery status of, you can see the battery life left on his remote. Okay? Now what I'll do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to roll over this vehicle detector with a chair, a metal chair, and watch the log as I do that. I'm just going to put this metal chair over the vehicle detector. Okay? And my gate is currently opening, and you can see the vehicle detector triggered. You can see the battery life of the vehicle detector was triggered at 12:27 and 50 seconds, so just shortly after Quinn pressed his remote. So that is just a quick look at how these devices work. Please let us know if you have any questions, but a really, really cool device with a lot of features. Thanks again.